Hi everybody, happy Earth Day from the Metaverse or from real life or from wherever you happen to be. My name is Staci Warden and I'm the CEO of the Algorand Foundation. And what I want to talk to you about today is the Algorand blockchain and how I think it's going to be a game changer for things like financial inclusion and why the protocol can deliver on enormous promise but in a carbon-free and climate-friendly way. So, when I look back on my career and I think about the roles that I've had in the private sector, in the public sector, and in the nonprofit sector, I have come to believe, and I think I'm right, that one of the important engines of economic growth is that household savings can go to entrepreneurs. So the virtuous circle kind of looks like this. Household savings, instead of putting their savings in bank accounts earning negative real yields, they are directed through well-functioning capital markets to entrepreneurs that need the money. Those entrepreneurs can then grow businesses. Those businesses hire more people and pay them more wages. Those higher wages give households more savings, and so it goes. And through that process, you get economic growth. And when we all have our kind of when did we fall down the rabbit hole story, and mine is in 2013. And when I first saw the Bitcoin blockchain protocol, I thought, right, this is really going to be an important component of delivering on that promise. Because, why is it that somebody in, say, Shanghai can send somebody in Malaysia a movie by text message in 1 minute, but they can't send $1 without traveling through the U.S. correspondent banking system, clearing at the Fed, traveling back down the correspondent banking system to Malaysia, a week later, and where somebody's taken 12% off the top, right? And when I looked at blockchain ledger technology, I realized this could be a very important solution to this. And this is what really could deliver on the promise of financial inclusion. And it was too early then, and Bitcoin wasn't kind of fit for purpose, to do that. But I always had the idea in my head. And then Silvio Macaulay also, he is the founder of the Algorand blockchain. He was a Turing Award winner in computer science at MIT, tenure professor at MIT. He had invented at that time a couple of things that cryptocurrencies more broadly use, that blockchain technologies more broadly use: zero-knowledge proofs and verified random functions. So he's watching this ecosystem develop, and he says to himself, I think I could probably build a better one of those. So in 2017, he was able to raise a bunch of money. They designed this thing. He hired a world-class team of cryptographers, of engineers, a management team. They went live in 2019 with the Algorand blockchain. And what he was able to do that was different, it was an unbelievably elegant solution, particularly in terms of the consensus mechanism. It's a pure proof-of-stake consensus mechanism. Was able to deliver a platform that could deliver the promise of global inclusion more broadly. And so how are you possibly going to do that? Well, you have to have a blockchain that can scale, that will have low transaction fees, and that is not going to have a big environmental footprint. So Algorand famously now does 1,200 transactions per second, and by the middle of the year, we're going to be moving to 10,000 transactions per second. It settles transactions in 4.5 seconds currently. Again, this year, moving to 2.5 second final transaction settlement. So that is, no forks. The money has gone. You can rest assured in 4.5 seconds. Fees have to be very low, because if you're going to have financial inclusion, those payments are going to be micro payments in many instances. And so you can't pay very expensive gas fees and deliver on that promise, right? So fees on the Algorand blockchain are sub-penny. They're 0.001 algo. So with all of this tool and machinery, we know that with Algorand, we can deliver on our North Star, which is bringing the 1.7 billion people that don't have access to finance and make them into productive citizens of the global financial economy. And that is really why we get up in the morning. And that was Silvio's initial reason for doing this in the first place. But when I came on board this year, I realized that we've got a lot of things that we need to do this year to make Algorand a big and robust ecosystem. And that is what we are laser focused on this year. So let me just talk a little bit about that as well. So when I think about a blockchain ecosystem, I think about it a little bit like, a planet. And I am kind of running the foundation in charge of Planet Algorand. And what do I need to do to make the economy of Planet Algorand as big as possible? Well, first of all, we need to teach as many people and get as many people as we possibly can speaking the language of Planet Algorand, right? And so that's getting developers to be building dApps, to getting entrepreneurs to come and build dApps, to getting the artists and the musicians and people and the developers to understand how to code in PyTeal and in Reach, kind of the language of Algorand, right? So we are going to do a number of things this year. We're going to have hackathons. I want a hackathon somewhere in the world every day of the year. We are going to have incubators and much better connectivity between entrepreneurs and coders, really make our developer resources much more robust, the training and the education around that. We've just put out, I announced in ETH Denver, a $10 million grant to build dev tools so that to make the life easier for developers developing in PyTeal. And second, we need better, we believe in a multi-chain world, right? So we need liquidity to be able to pass back and forth between the Algorand blockchain and other blockchains much more easily. And of course, that does happen with bridges. And, there's been some issues with bridges this year in a couple of different instances. We have been working, the brainiacs over at Algorand Inc. is what I mean by this when I say we. We have been building a very important solution for this, and this is called state proofs. We call it state proofs. And that state proofs enables you to take a picture, a snapshot in time of the activity, the state of affairs on the Algorand blockchain, and that anybody can use that and understand, what that state of affairs is. Therefore, you can have a bridge which is trustless, which is only done by smart contract. So a smart contract can look at the state of affairs on blockchain, know what it is, and then be able to port and teleport that liquidity to and from ecosystem to ecosystem. We think this is the best technology out there for it. We think it's a game changer, and it is, of course, open source. We have no pride of ownership of this, and we are going to be working with other layer ones to make sure that everybody can have access to this technology should they need it, so that we can make sure that that liquidity back and forth between ecosystems goes as safely and securely as possible. Third, you may live on your other ecosystem and you like the food there and you like the vibe there and you kind of want to be there, but and you have your favorite dApps, right? But you want those to be able to execute on the Algorand ecosystem because you like the finality, the settlement finality, you like the speed, you like the lower fees. And so it's very important that applications on, say, Ethereum can execute on the Algorand blockchain. And we are also really focused on delivering that this year. And that is called EVM to AVM compatibility, Ethereum virtual machine to Algorand virtual machine compatibility. And again, at ETH Denver, I was able to announce a $10 million grant to solve EVM to AVM compatibility. So we're looking forward to bringing both of those things online this year and really building up the ecosystem on Algorand. We've got so many dApps coming now. A couple of apps that are on mainnet, so many also on testnet coming in the next couple of quarters. So we're really excited about the growth that we're going to see this year for sure. But let me circle back to the importance of making sure all of that happens on a carbon neutral chain. So right now, and it's because of this pure proof of stake consensus mechanism, we were built from the start with a carbon neutral mindset in mind, because we knew that we're the chain that can deliver the decentralization and the security and the scale. And so in order to do that, you have to build it from the beginning with the idea that you must be carbon neutral. So Silvio and his team did that. So now we use the energy usage of like 7 houses. But as we grow and as more transactions come increasingly on, that number will creep up. It might get to like 20 or 25 houses or something. And so we need to make sure that we are absolutely carbon negative at all times. So we have committed now on Earth Day that all of our transaction fees will be going towards buying carbon offsets to make sure that we are a carbon negative chain no matter what happens. And so that's our promise to you and to Mother Earth as well here on Earth Day, that we can deliver financial inclusion at scale, that we can deliver a much bigger and more vibrant and robust Algorand ecosystem, and that we can do that in a way that won't piss off Mother Earth. So thank you so much, everybody, and it's an absolute honor to be here with you.